Hello and welcome to MCPSS Athletics. My name is Calvin Chris, Athletic Director for Mobile County Public Schools. Studio today we have from Viger High School, Athletic Director, Head Football Coach Ashley Johnson, and Varsity Cheer Coach Kim Wyndham. And after this message, we'll be back with our guests.
Diesel is a very big industry, and I went into it in a 2-year program at the Bryant Career Tech with Tony Tillman.
When Jacob graduated from the Bryant Career Center, he had earned his diesel credential.
The Career Technical Center taught me a lot, all the way from not knowing anything about a motor or engine to knowing pretty much every single moving part of them.
MCPSS Career Tech. Start your future today.
The quality of education that I received from the Mobile County Public School System really prepared me for global success. Being an international opera singer, I get to travel all across the world. And one of the most important aspects about that is being able to communicate and work with people. And the Mobile County Public School System really equipped me to be greatly successful worldwide.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Let's switch to Energy Star light bulbs and stop burning through cash. Saving energy saves you money.
Welcome back to the show. Our first guest is Coach Ashley Johnson, Athletic Director, Head Football Coach at Viger High School, which is my alma mater. Coach, appreciate you coming by today.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Coach, how's things at Viger High School?
It's going really well. We're off to a good start. A lot of positive attitude around there right now. Mr. Cunningham, our new principal, is doing an outstanding job along with his administration, and things are going well.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about your season and the teams you've played and some of your results. You've off to a pretty good start, as you said.
Yeah, well, you know, it's we played a really tough schedule. You know, we played our preseason game versus 6A Blunt, who's having a really good season, and then we played McGill and Murphy, who are also 7A teams, and so we've played up, and you know, it wasn't completely by choice. You had to pretty much play who was going to be open that week with the new alignments and stuff. But you would hope that those games would make you tougher in the long run. You know, you would face as good a competition as there would be out there in 5A. Now, we also wanted to make sure that we didn't get too beat up, and we have gotten beaten up a little bit, but we've had an off week this week, and so we've had a little time to get well, and we're 2-0 in the region right now. We got a big region game coming up this week against Jackson.
Coach, you want to talk a little about your running back that's committed to Alabama. He's been hobbled just about the whole year, hasn't he?
Yeah, against McGill, which was our first regular season game, you know, he came out and ran for about, I think, 50-something yards on the first drive. And as he was scoring the touchdown, a guy came and tackled him and twisted his ankle. And so we took him out on the next drive, and, you know, he sat out one whole game. And kind of been hobbled for the rest, but it's been getting better, and you know, mentally he's getting adjusted to it. You know, there's always a little bit of fear, you know, of pressing off that ankle, and but he's been practicing the last couple weeks, and we feel good about him being pretty close to 100% this Friday.
Coach, I'm going to ask you this question, and it's one that I like to ask. The expectation for football at Viger is always high. It's not, are we going to have a winning season? It's always, you know, are we going to get to the Super 7?
Right.
So how is it keeping these kids up all the time? Because, you know, we're talking about 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids, and they've got other things on their minds, but the expectations so high. How do you do it?
Well, it's tough. You know, you just got to keep going in stride. You know, it's tough on the coaching staff, but imagine on the kids, you know, because there is so much expectation on them, you know, when they don't go out and beat a team like a Murphy, you know, who's so much bigger than them, where they were like, we're supposed to beat Murphy, you know, no matter what. It doesn't matter, you know. And you're like, wow, you know, that's tough. And you go back to the record books, you know, they didn't always beat Murphy back when they were the same size. You know, they had battles back then, and we were able to defeat them last year. So, you know, sometimes I hate that they put that much pressure on them, you know, and they probably just don't realize, you know, and you want to be positive with these kids, you know, as much as you can. And so, you know, I'm glad we're into our 5A schedule now, and we're into some teams that, you know, we're more size-wise competitive with. And so, you know, it's tough.
It really is. I know it's, you know, the old saying is, it's tougher to stay up top than it is to get there, you know.
Right.
So, but you're ranked in the top 10.
We are. We're ranked in the top 10 this week, and so, you know, Jackson will probably be ranked in the top 10. St. Paul's is, of course, number one in our class, and we'll have them coming up in a few weeks. So, you know, expectations are still high. There's nothing wrong with expectations.
Right.
I'd rather have expectations than none.
Exactly.
For sure. And so, you know, I think we can have a really good team.
Coach, are you still going to have a crop of kids that will probably sign this year, or is it too early to tell?
I think we'll have a lot of kids that'll end up going to college and playing football. You know, I don't know how many Division I's. Of course, we have DeSharius, who is, you know, committed to Alabama. And then we have a lot of kids that are, you know, right there on the borderline, getting some looks from the La Techs and the Western Kentuckys. A lot of Division II, you know, looks, you know, from people, but some of that doesn't play out, you know, even past February. You know, the majority of our kids last year didn't sign on signing day. They
Right.
signed in March and April, even May. We even had one sign this summer, you know, to go on because he was waiting on an ACT score. So, you know, things don't always happen in February anymore with football as far as signing goes.
And of course, you've got Viger alumni playing everywhere, but I noticed this weekend one at Arkansas was starting on the defensive line.
He is. Darius Filon and Jamichael Winston is also a defensive lineman at Arkansas. So we had two there. And last week they played Northern Illinois, where we have Marlon Moore starting at safety. And they all played on the 2011, you know, runner-up team. And so we had a Facebook picture with the three guys playing together.
That's great. That's special. Coach, as far as your offense this year, what are you running?
You know, we're a spread, multiple. You know, we're in the pistol a lot, two backs, but we also spread it out and go full wide. So, you know, we're kind of a multiple team as far as that goes. We run a lot of formations and stuff. You know, one game we were in double tight, and other games we've come out more spread. You know, we're blessed with different types of personnel, so, you know, we can get different looks in a game, and so probably a little bit hard to prep for us.
So I guess you start this year out. You start out this year with the new quarterback, didn't you? Lost your one from last year, who was a great athlete.
Yeah, he is, and so we have a sophomore starting for us this year, Cameron Williams, and he's done a great job. Really exceeded expectations for us this year, and so we've been really proud of him.
And Coach, real quick here before we take a break, what about your defense?
Oh, they're playing outstanding. You know, Lee Smith, our defensive coordinator, has done a great job with those guys. They are really playing hard, you know, and that's the name of the game on defense is, you know, play unbelievably hard, and they are. They're flying to the football, being very physical, and we got a really good defense this year.
What alignment are you in?
We base out of a three-man front, and so you'll see us in some 3-4 and 3-3, but we're multiple enough. We'll get into some four-man, you know, at times.
That's great. We're going to take a little break here, and when we come back, we'll have Miss Wyndham, our varsity cheer coach from Viger.
Nonviolence will start with me.
Nonviolence will start with me.
All across the Mobile County public school system, students are taking the pledge.
I pledge to accept the responsibility of my actions.
To solve problems peacefully.
Respect myself and others.
The 100 Days of Nonviolence Pledge. It's an initiative to help explore alternative means of stopping violence among school students. Will you take the challenge? Get involved. Take a stand. 100 Days, 100 Ways.
Smartboard, that's right.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Switch to energy-saving bulbs. Saving energy saves you money. When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money.
Welcome back to our second segment. We have our varsity cheer coach from Vigar High School, Miss Kim Wyndham. Miss Wyndham, appreciate you coming today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Miss Wyndham is our District 1 representative, and I'm going to let her explain exactly what that is. I used to think it was just Mobile and Baldwin County, but it's really more than that, isn't it, Miss Wyndham?
Yes, sir, it is. I thought it was Mobile and Baldwin County as well until I went to the first meeting in April, and Mr. Severese and his staff told me that I represent Mobile, Baldwin, Escambia, Washington, Clark, and Monroe County. So I represent 8 counties.
Okay, and for those who are not familiar, we have different people that are on committees in our different sports, and of course, cheerleading is not a sport, but it may as well be. But they meet and go over rule changes and things of this nature. So you've been to a couple meetings. You want to talk a little bit about some of the things out there that you've learned, changes?
We're talking about trying to take cheerleading to be a sport and make it sanctioned. And by it being sanctioned, that means that we'll be under the same rules as the varsity sports, meaning football, basketball, baseball, all the other governed sports. And that means that eligibility comes into play as far as where they live, what the grades are, which most schools do govern grades,
Right.
as well as eligibility and physicals, because at Vigar we make sure that our girls have physicals in the same forms and format that all the other sports have, but some schools may not. So right now we're just trying to see what District 1 wants to do, because District 1 is not as competitive as some of the other districts in northern Alabama, meaning we don't have as many competition squads. So right now we're just trying to see what the rules would play out to be and what the District 1 want to be as far as voting on being a sanctioned sport or not a sanctioned sport.
I know that I'm very old and traditional, but I love to watch the competition squads compete, but I think sometimes the competition squads are overtaking our cheerleaders. Cheerleading to me is school spirit in 2 bits, 4 bits.
Yes, sir.
Do you see that coming or pattern in our county? I mean, or is our county pretty much still 2 bits, 4 bits, or do we have a lot of competition squads?
As of now, this is my 9th year as the cheerleader coach at Vigar. Right now, they're not taking over as far as competition. Now, some years ago, competition squads were big, and a lot of girls you saw were cheering with the all-star gyms. But now I think that because of expenses, I believe some of those all-star squads have dwindled down and went from maybe 10 squads to 7 or 8 squads. Because of being an all-star cheerleader at a gym like Nassar, Planet Fitness, Cheer Force One, Miss Lisa, Miss Daphne, you're talking about $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a year. And there's no fundraising primarily. You have to pay for your own travel, you pay for your own uniforms, and they travel a lot. Whereas high school cheerleaders, I mean, for the most part, I think most varsity cheerleaders probably pay under $2,000, and the school kind of helps out with travel as far as making sure, like at Vigar, Coach Johnson makes sure that we have a bus and we eat pregame meals. Some schools do that as well, but for the most part, I think some of the competition squads are probably going away. But if it becomes a sanctioned sport, I think you'll probably see some of them come back.
Okay. Y'all are, I guess, the only sport that y'all don't get to pick your own team. And a lot of people don't realize that. And my thinking is, I don't know why you don't get to pick your own team, but y'all have to bring in outside representatives and all, and people don't realize what a tryout, going through a tryout is. Well, you kind of go through what cheerleader tryouts is and how much is involved in it.
For the most part, most cheerleader tryouts is probably a 2 to 3 week trial period, whereas you get the applications out, and after you get the application out, then you send them through the office, and the office determines their eligibility as far as grades and discipline. And after you go through the grades and the discipline, then you go through the athletic part of it to make sure they have physicals, because to try out, they must have a current physical in order to try out. And once they go through that, then you go through a 2 or 3 day clinic, and that's where you teach them materials to try out to be judged by the outside judges, because cheerleading is so competitive where you don't want anybody to say that you was biased because the girl was in your class and she didn't do well in your class and you gave her a bad score, so therefore she won't cheer for you. Well, you try to be as fair as possible because they are kids,
Right.
and kids do make mistakes, and every day is a different day. So we get 2 to 3, maybe 4 judges from the outside that's non-biased, non-related to the school, that has some type of cheering experience.
Right.
Because you don't want anybody in there that don't even know 2 bits or 4 bits,
Right.
don't even know what a cheerleader should look like or what she should be saying or what she should be spelling. So it's a tedious and long, drawn-out process, but in order to get the best group of girls or best group of students to be the spirit leaders of the school, you have to go through the 2 to 3 week process.
And I've been to some cheerleader tryouts, and I know after that last day, the cheerleader coaches are just wore slap out, aren't they? I mean, it is very pressure-packed event for y'all for those 2 or 3 weeks, and I know it's a lot of pressure on you. Even though you don't pick them, a lot of times people think you have input in, and you really don't.
No,
So,
sir.
and one thing about cheerleaders is y'all not giving any money. It's all fundraisers, and if you don't raise the money, you don't get it, do you?
No, sir. It's all about fundraising, or either just the fact that some schools don't do many fundraisers. They let the parents know in the beginning when the application come out how much the price is when the first fee payment is due and what the fee payment process is. And if you don't pay it, you don't make it. And some people, that's why a lot of schools pick alternates, because if you don't make that first payment, some schools' first payment is as early as the next Monday. Some schools' fee payment is as early as the first of the month. But if you don't make that, and it's written in black and white, if you don't make it, that first payment, then your spot is up for the next person to get it, which will be your alternate. And a lot of schools have gone to the alternate process because some people try out and they have all intentions of making it and paying the fees, but that first fee payment is not paid. So, I mean, because you have spring games you have to get ready for. So you have to go ahead and start making provisions for the first uniform.
Talk a little about some of your fundraisers, what you do. And I know it's hard to come up with because you're not the only one in town that's fundraising.
No, sir.
Everybody is. But what are some of them that you do?
My cheerleaders do different things from selling tumblers, the cups. We sell candles. We've sold donuts. We've tried to get away from the plate selling because that's a lot of hard work and making sure you get the plates prepared. But we'll do bucket drops, meaning we'll go on the corners of the streets of Pritchard and solicit money for the different various reasons. And we'll do fundraisers at the school, whether we're selling the spirit ribbons, whether we're selling nachos at school, or whether we're just selling, like we got a blackout pet rally coming up this Friday, and that's a cheerleader fundraiser. So we're preparing for that, and we'll sell tickets to go to that. Then we do a big breast cancer fundraiser to try to sell many breast cancer awareness ribbons, shakers, stickers, face tattoos to try to help the school raise the $1,500 we try to raise every year.
And that was one of my questions here, what you actually do for, and I believe it's the month of October.
Yes, sir.
Well, and you just mentioned some. Is there any other things that you do during that month to just the selling part of it, or?
That's what we primarily do. We primarily sell pink shakers. We sell pink breast cancer ribbons, and we do pink breast cancer awareness tattoos. And that's primarily what the cheerleaders do. We sold spirit shirts this year to the faculty, and the faculty and staff has really did well in buying those and their breast cancer shirts that they'll wear on Fridays or different days of the week during October.
I think our whole county has come a long ways for the month of October. I remember when it first started, it was just like one school doing it. Now even our middle schools are doing it. So I think it's great and a lot of money's raised for it. So I appreciate your effort in that.
Thank you.
After this message, we're going to bring Coach Johnson back in and we'll finish up.
It started with me at Murphy High School when I came here as a freshman in 1973. I was very interested in math and science already before I came to Murphy. From Murphy High School, I was appointed to the U.S. Naval Academy, was able to get my college degree and also my commission in the U.S. Navy from the Naval Academy. But it truly was the foundation that I gained here at Murphy High School that allowed me to take advantage of that great opportunity.
Welcome back. We've got Viger High School this morning in our studios. We brought Coach Johnson back with Miss Wyndham, and we're going to finish up our last segment. We're going to start with Coach Johnson. Coach Johnson's also the athletic director, and Coach, that's just about a job in itself, isn't it?
It is. A lot of hard work goes into it with the new eligibility C2C that they have now for the state of Alabama. You know, it's a massive amount of paperwork. I have, just for football, I have a book that is literally this deep in paperwork just for our football team. I think there's 7 pieces of paper that every football player must have on file with the school. Every year they have to all be redone. These are papers they have to take to doctors for physicals or home to be signed by parents. And of course, for every sport they play, those forms have to be transferred over into other books, plus all of it has to be kept up in the computer. We have a statewide computer system called C2C Schools where we have to document all this information in, go in and check off the dates of when and how all that was done, and that's where we also build our schedules and so on.
And Coach, we also get monitored by the state, and I think October 1st, which is Wednesday, they're going to start auditing our schools. So, you know, they come in and check, and people don't realize that after you finish all that, you still have to monitor, don't you? We was talking earlier about things turning up red in C2C. And
that's right. You know, when your physicals go out of date, because the paperwork is good for 1 year, and you know, you have different kids trying out for different sports during the year. So, you know, if they get a physical in October, that means until October of next year it's good. Well, you know, if you don't remember that and the kid begins to play a sport next year, maybe they didn't play the year before, you know, and they're going on the physical that they had already taken, it may be good for a month and then all of a sudden it expires. Well, you've got to remember that date. And so, you know, of course, with hundreds of kids playing athletics, you can't remember every date, so you constantly, as a coach, have to go back and keep checking in C2C every day, you know, where are my kids at eligibility-wise? Has anybody went from black to red, because that's what they'll turn when they become ineligible.
Miss Wyndham, it's game day, pep rally day. So you want to go through a game day for us or a football Friday?
Well, it starts first thing that morning, and we go through classes. Every morning on game days, my cheerleaders, 2 to 3, maybe no more than 5 of them, do the morning announcements and the midday announcements, and we'll do a mini pep rally on the announcements, doing an offense, defense, and a school-wide chant, so the kids to be ready for the pep rally that afternoon. And we do that first block and third block, which is our morning and midday announcements. And then during the lunch waves, they'll paint faces, do tattoos, and we sell those. That's another part of our fundraising. And it's only like 50 cents, but every little bit helps. And then as fifth block approaches, then they start getting dressed and getting ready for the pep rally. Then I correspond with the band director to make sure that if anything has changed as far as the agenda, as far as what songs he's going to play or what type of events we're going to have as far as for the students, because we like to do different student events, meaning classes against classes, as far as any physical challenge or dance off or any type of rap off or anything that's child friendly for high school students. And then we have the pep rally anywhere from 15 minutes to 30 minutes. And then we'll end the day with the alma mater, and they'll go home to the buses, and we'll get ready to go eat pregame meal with the football team. And then we go from there to loading the buses for the game.
So they don't get to go home. I mean, you keep them there. So, and I guess you have to get to the stadium pretty early, don't you?
Yes, sir. My primary reason to keep them there is because when I cheered at Viger, we had different situations where parents couldn't get kids to the game, or you got stuck in traffic, and different things happen in Mobile with traffic on Fridays. So we keep them there, and like I said, Coach Johnson feeds them. So therefore, all they do for like from 3:30 to 4:30, they rest, and then from 4:30 to about 5, we get dressed, and then 5:30, we pretty much loading the buses to head to the stadium, depending on what the game is. If it's a Ladd Stadium game or a Pritchard Stadium game, we're generally leaving about 5:30.
That's good. Coach, talk a little bit about your off-season program that you have.
Well, you know, we'll go into the weight room primarily. We'll have so many days in the weight room, so many days outside working on plyometrics and skills and things like that. Of course, you want to reevaluate your offense, defense, your coaching staff, and so we try to pick clinics and things that we can go to as a staff and try to build ourselves up on that aspect. We're looking for new players, recruiting, in our halls, figuring out who our middle schoolers are going to be moving up, and because we got to get ready for spring training, which is coming, in May for us. Of course, we're getting ready for the next season, buying equipment, refurbishing our helmets, any kind of uniforms, paint, all the things, building your schedules and stuff for the next football season. And
Coach, in the summer, you participate in 7-on-7 and
yes, we're there a full summer. I generally work about 50 to 60 hours a week during the summertime. Of course, cutting the grasses and stuff, which takes a lot of work right there. But we have our kids come in 4 days a week in the summertime in the morning, 4 hours. All our assistant coaches are there, and so we have a time of weightlifting, conditioning, and working on the field. And then pretty much once a week we'll have a 7-on-7 or something like that to go to. We'll bus our kids over in the afternoon to a school, and we'll participate in a competition to try to get us ready for the football season.
We've got about a minute, Miss Wyndham, and people don't realize, but you work the summers too with those girls. They work all summer, don't they?
Yes, sir, they do.
You want to go into that a little bit real quick?
We do a lot of our major fundraising during the summer to get ready for camp, and we do UCA camp like most schools do. And we get ready for that by doing conditioning. They do weight training in the football locker room with one of the football coaches. Then as well, they get ready to do gymnastics 1 day a week, and then we do Zumba, and then we do practice. So they do 4 days a week as well, and then we go to church every other Sunday most of the time during the summer.
That's great. Appreciate y'all coming today. Y'all doing a wonderful job. Our system's lucky to have you. Thank you so much for taking the time out to come and be on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate you watching today, and we will see you next week.